Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Dhani Services Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Investec Capital Services. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. From the management team, we have Mr. Samir Gehlaut, Founder, Mr. Nikhil Chari, President Healthcare, and Mr. Pinang Shah, Group CFO. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Samir Gehlaut. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this call. So we completed, in March 21, our first year in new avatar, where our entire focus has been on paid subscriptions on monthly basis. We moved away from our traditional business of giving out unsecured personal loans, and it has been a very important first year for us, where we have laid down all the necessary foundations for a good growth trajectory over the next couple of years. We achieved a couple of important milestones as well. We closed the year with a overall customer franchise of 26 million customers. Last quarter we launched a very important product, which is e-pharmacy, where now people can order even the branded medicines on the Dhani platform. So that has taken off extremely well. We also closed the year being number 4 on the store of Google Play in the business category in India, which again, has been a very exciting milestone for us. At the same time, now we have a brand new UX for our customers, which basically in one glance provides all the customer services that we provide and all the product offerings on a single screen itself, instead of the 2 sections which were there of money and health. We have combined that into a new UX, which we have been working on for last couple of months. So that has been launched, and immediate outcome of the new UX has been massive rating improvements on the Google Play Store. So our ratings have gone up, customer ratings from 3.6 to 4 currently. And also with the launch of new UX, our daily active users have now crossed 10 lakh users on daily basis. Our monthly active users are almost close to around 9 million users, which basically, from a product perspective, puts us amongst the top 10, Indian companies with this kind of, daily traffic. We were also focused around, launching our physical as well as digital card, last quarter, and last quarter was the launch of this product as well, which is basically very core and central to the entire business of Dhani. We launched this program, and within the first quarter itself, almost close to 1.1 million people availed of this facility from us, and they were issued physical as well as the digital cards. Now 1.1 million customers finished their full KYC, which is a pretty tedious process. It's not like a minimum KYC, wherein only select documents are asked for. Full KYC is a tedious process. People completed that. They saw the value in our product, and currently on daily basis, over close to around 10,000 people, close to around 50,000 people, unique people use our Dhani card with credit on daily basis. As a comparison, the global leader in Shop Now, Pay Later business, which is Klarna, valued at around $48 billion in the private market, has around usage of 1.4 million customers of their services on daily basis. So although their earnings are in dollars, ours are in rupees, but it is a very good sign in terms of the acceptance and the value people attribute to this very, very important and core offering of Dhani services. We, had projected, in our last call, a presence in around 50 cities in the country, a physical presence. We were able to achieve presence in 42 cities. The delays were basically due to the second COVID wave, which led to lockdowns, and that's how the milestone of 50 was not reached. However, so now, again, this also come in a auto mode with things improving in the country. We expect to, have more and more cities getting opened up in a very short time frame. We would also be launching a franchisee model. We have found very good interest in the franchisee model, which would allow us to even ramp up further our ground presence, for distribution of branded medicines. Now, the main thesis for opening these Dhani Health shops on the ground are that our focus is basically to look after customers on the primary care, which is basically the non-hospitalization, spectrum. And in that, a lot of feedback we received was that even some people, want only branded medicines and they want it immediately because they can't wait for the next day for the delivery of medicines, which is, currently how the Indian landscape is for the e-pharmacy companies. They take 24 to 48 hours to deliver the medicines. However, if somebody is having a stomach ache or, has all of a sudden fallen sick and needs antibiotics, people need those medicines within 1 hour. And they need only the medicines, which are prescribed by their own doctors, which are branded. So we, started opening these health shops, basically, which carry branded medicines. And with ground presence of our delivery staff, we'll be able to fulfill our 1 hour delivery promise of the branded medicines as well through these health shops going forward. It has already started happening. So net, the card as well as the, health shops and the e-pharmacy are important gears which work in tandem and that, are fueling a lot of growth for Dhani. And, every day we are progressing at a very, very rapid speed in terms of acceptance of our different and new products amongst the vast customer base that we have now. So the three components kind of like become a virtuous flywheel, which is a unique thing about Dhani, where it is able to provide, services more than one, which is how, the other apps in India are currently positioned. So in terms of, our subscriptions update, we were able to get 2.1 million subscribers last quarter. Out of that 2.1 million subscribers, we ended the quarter with almost close to around 1.8 million paid subscribers. The paid subscribers acquired within the quarter, have been a lot more, but we have seen our renewal rates at around 75 to 80%, each month. So some paid, customers basically also fall off, and that is, that gets added up by the new customers. So we closed the quarter with 1.8 million paid subscribers. Last quarter, this number was 1.3 million in total. So that was a healthy percentage jump in 3 months. On the financial update, our model, as I said before, is to only focus on doing shop now, pay later, as well as digital healthcare, and our main revenue driver as on date and has been for last couple of months only subscriptions-based revenue. So we saw a steep fall in our revenues from 3.3 billion to 2.3 billion, almost a reduction of 1 billion in revenue, just because we don't give any personal loans like we were giving before. This led to a EBITDA of minus 0.8 billion, and this actually has been the first year in last 15 years where Dhani is making a loss for the year. We don't expect this loss to continue for many years. We hope to come back to profitability soon, and currently it seems that sometime in next financial year we should be back to the path of profitability without without any other new revenue streams assumption. So the path to profitability is basically on three pillars. One is the subscriptions, which is on both Shop Now, Pay Later, as well as digital doctor subscriptions. And then the second is e-pharmacy, which is basically branded medicines as well as non-branded medicines. And the third one is health shops, which also will act as a tool for customer acquisition, even on the finance side. So all the three levers are pretty strong, and all the foundation work has been done, and we expect good progress over the next coming months. One very important initiative that we are executing right now is that we are bringing out for the first time a browser within the Dhani app, which will allow customers to shop any place within the Dhani app, and they would be in a position to use Dhani card with credit very easily while shopping, at even Amazon or Flipkart or whichever retailer. And that's all getting embedded within the Dhani app experience. They don't have to open another browser on another app, and it can all happen in a very seamless way on the Dhani platform itself. Now, as on date, the unit economics, per paid subscription, we keep updating this information based on, the data that we have at the end of the quarter. It's pretty much, the same as we saw the last time. The numbers are again in the region of around $10 in terms of, our operating profit per customer per annum. So that is more or less the same. And lastly, again, as I said, the subscriptions are increasing. There is very good acceptance, and the acceptance is largely amongst people under the age of 40, which bodes extremely well for the company, and companies well poised to take advantage of the growing population, young population of India. And again, 95% of our this young population does not possess a credit card. Nobody has any transaction power in their pockets. While on the pharmacy side, we still have, quite a bit of a stiff competition from many players who've been in the business for last, now almost 10 years or 10 plus years. E-pharmacy companies who've been doing, some good work and have gained a lot of traction. When we come to the non-bank segment and we see Shop Now, Pay Later, a completely digital offering, then it's, just us in that market. And then the way we are expanding it, wherein having all the shopping, etc., also being available within the app itself. And then there is Dhani One Freedom card, which allows the transaction finance and easy interest-free installments to the customers. I think it's a unique offering on that front, and we are quite excited about the growth of the company over the next couple of months. With this, the quarterly update highlights, are over, and we would be happy to take any questions, please.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Rishabh Kotari from Vision Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, hi Sameer. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate you for really increasing the customer base of Dhani by a margin. So, well done. And just a quick question, I'd like to know about your plans regarding the Indiabulls group as a whole. So, we are already exiting the real estate business and also heard the announcement of the selling of the mutual fund business. So, and there are also articles regarding you selling your stake in Indiabulls Housing. And just wanted to know, will there be more such divestments, including the ARC business, which is owned by Dhani?
Well, we've exited out, quite a bit of, ARC portfolio as well. We did a, transaction with one of the international funds there. Our focus, as Dhani is only on the app business. We are exiting out of all the legacy businesses. We have, we have shut down many of our branches. We've even moved, the stocks to entirely on the app. So that's, that's about Dhani. So far as, my other business interests are concerned, probably we can, talk about them in a separate forum. But, I just to put it out there, I'm not real estate transaction, merger with the Blackstone platform and Embassy platform has been out there for the last year and a half. Other than that, there is, no plan to exit anywhere.
All right. Just coming back to Dhani Finance. So, could you explain what is the advantage that our transaction finance business has over traditional credit card businesses?
So the, credit card is a separate, market for separate type of customers. The total credit cards in the country are close to around 50 million, wherein total, people in the financial system which have loans, the entire set of customers who have loans, etc., are close to around, 500 million people. So we have a 90% population out there who don't possess any transaction power for their day-to-day needs. So that's where we come in, and that's the spot that we are trying to fill in, and in a way which is very affordable for the vast customer base that I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Personal loans is a balance sheet business. That's not something which we are focused about. We don't want to build a balance sheet. Our focus is to have a very quick a churn of our money. People pay back to us within next 60 days, and they pay a small subscription fee of 200 rupees, 300 rupees, depending on the transaction power they receive from us.
Thank you.
The line of Hariharan. The next question is from the line of Hariharan from NWI Management. Please go ahead.
Sameer, good morning. Thank you for the update. Just a couple of different questions. First of all, it's interesting that you managed to do all this at a time when you have the COVID situation bubbling up again. So maybe you can talk a little bit about what are some of the steps you have taken during this period of time, especially from a perspective of credit extension. Have you gone cautious in terms of kind of the ability to shop now, pay later? Obviously involves a credit decision. How are you managing potentially incremental credit risks because of the wave of COVID? That's number one. Secondly, going to Dhani Health, would love to know, you have this very good vision about, having a whole phalanx of doctors available, and one of the unique propositions was the fact that, in a very uh, sharp time frame, you were offering access to doctors. How's that whole thing going? And has it met your expectations? Is it in turn leading to cross sales in the pharmacy, etc. And then the final question is just from a technology perspective, because this is an ambitious thing you're on to. You've got a lot of customers now. How is your competence, if you will, in technology? How are customer experiences? What is the level of customer complaints, if any? And I assume that you are subject to having to make do with whatever infrastructure, broadband, etc., which is available in India. How is that whole network capability working out? That's a lot of questions, but I appreciate your answers. Thank you, Samir.
Thanks, Hari, for the questions. So I'll take one by one. Starting from the first question on credit risks. See, this COVID has really affected the segment that I'm talking about, and segment which is basically on the lower to mid economic strata. So, and if you see a couple of reports out there in the marketplace, then some of the fintechs which were earlier in business now are not in business anymore, because they have suffered losses which run over 40% in terms of the delinquencies, and these bouncings and everything has only gone up. So the market situation is pretty tough for unsecured lending type of products. We are doing at our end to address this. We had a program to upgrade people after certain transactions, seeing their behavior. So we have put a halt to that program. So now we are not allowing our customers, paying good customers, to get upgraded in a hurry. So we have elongated all those things, given what we hear and what we feel on the ground situation for the customer base that takes these kind of products. So that's the first thing in terms of the credit measures that we are taking at our end, because situation is pretty grim. That's just the reality. And on Dhani Health, we have made very good progress. So now every day we deliver almost close to around 3,000 to 4,000 packets to our customers. So this number was like a very small number last quarter. So these are all new products, but we get benefit of our customer base that we talked about, that we closed the year with 26 million customers. So we have instant customer base. Many of these people, as and when they're falling sick or they need discounted medicines at their doorstep, they check with us. So if you see some of the other companies who are in this space, backed by some major private equity firms and have been in business, their cash burn every month is like 100 crores, and they've been in business for 7-8 years, and then they have now traction where they cater to around 20,000-30,000 orders on daily basis. So given how much money they have spent and how much we have spent and how quickly we have reached to these numbers, we feel happy about this, and we think that this is just the start, because the big differentiating point between us and everybody else is also the physical health shops. So we have to be mindful that we are dealing with people like Amazon, who have started delivering medicines at 15% discount in Bangalore. So how do we differentiate ourselves? Well, Amazon packet is going to come after 48 hours. Dhani medicines, branded medicines, will reach within 60 minutes. And that is how we are differentiating ourselves and have a plan in place how to win vis-a-vis the competition that we have in front of us, which is very strong, as you know. So we are laying those foundation stones. So it's not that we are just sort of thinking as how we are not thinking in terms of the long-term plans. And so ours is quite a good offering, which basically encompasses everything which is non-hospitalization based, and that that becomes a very consolidated, comprehensive offering for customers, and within a time scale that they expect these services to come to them. So that's on the Dhani Health point. On the technology front, again, this is such a technology intensive business. You are always wanting more and more out of technology team. We have hired a lot of new talent. We've hired lots of people from graduating engineers from different IITs also this year who would be joining July onwards. So we are enhancing our technology capabilities, and I think from where we sat 6 months back and where we sit today, there is a huge change. And because of our additions in the technology team and the fact that how quickly they have scaled up is how we have brought in this new wonderful user experience, which is self-explanatory. So we have been really focused on this part, and again, I would not say that we have the perfect technology team. There is always improvement, and there would be on the technology front for many years to come. But we are making very rapid progress on enhancing our technology capabilities. Now we have almost close to 25 to 30 engineers, who are non-Indian engineers who work for Dhani on like full-time basis. And at the same time, we from an infrastructure point of view, we moved Dhani Health to AWS. And the goal is to move, the entire finance piece also to AWS in the month of July. So then, the nagging issues of, the local infrastructure, all those things, go away with these moves.
Okay, thank you. If I may follow up, Samir, 2 quick questions. I want to go back to what you said about technology. I mean, without giving any trade secrets away, how are you ensuring that you're, kind of staying cutting edge in terms of technology as far as all of these different products are concerned? Because I guess globally, it's a rapidly evolving space, right? Where the Chinese have their own payments related stuff. There's things going on in Silicon Valley, US, etc. So maybe you can give us a little insight into, whether there are some particular role models or any particular gizmos you are using to stay in touch. And secondly, I want to go back to the physical doctor consultation process. At one stage, if I remember in one of your presentations a few quarters ago, you had this novel idea that maybe you could use Dhani platform for existing doctors to be able to, put their client interface onto your platform, and thereby, remove all of the issues related to how they bill, whether they get paid, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if you remember that conversation you had on one of the calls. Are you making any progress on that front, or is that model proving difficult to execute? Can you talk about it? Thanks.
So, Hari, yeah, the first question, pertaining to technology and who's the role model, again, in ours is a, customer experience and service business. So the role model is clearly, Amazon for us. And we keep, trying to, copy some of the stuff that they do, wonderfully. So that is a, constant chase, and, within our context of finance, etc., we have, done a lot of changes, and that has actually led to improvement in our ratings as well. Customer ratings were at 3.6 and at one time even reached 3.5. So we are back to now 4, and these would only increase as we go forward. So we are quite up to date in terms of what is happening globally. So this shopping, browser that we are introducing within, the Dhani app itself. And this is, going live like, next week. So this, this is not available with anywhere, in any of the markets. Only Klarna has it, and now we will have it. So we keep, quite up to date in terms of the new features that can enhance the product experience for customers as best as we can. So that's on that. And on the, the other model on the private patients, we call it private patients, and it's also on the home page, but in the second half of our home page on Dhani app, which is a platform for doctors, and doctors can cater to their private customers, etc. With the lockdowns, etc., this is a product which, needs to be taught to the doctors. So it has not taken off, very well so far. And we, frankly, we need a physical workforce to, do this. Now that we will have, our own health shops where, so what we are trying to accomplish and, which would be a different avatar of this private patients is, doctor would also be able to, order the medicines for the customer directly from our local health shop. So a lot of times it was happening that, the doctor would talk to him, and then, he didn't have talk to the patient. He did not have a place to upload those medicines, and the medicines would get delivered to the customer. So it was not like a end-to-end solution, and that's why it did not take off very well. But now we have altered few things, and we will see if this can, take off. And the lockdowns are also over. So we have a good playing field to experiment more on this product.
Thank you, Samir. And if I don't want to hog the time, but if at the end of this period, if I can ask you one more question, I will. But I'll pass it back to the administrator. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Neeraj Lal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Samir and team, for sharing the results. I just want to understand. We don't look at Dhani as or let's say healthcare as a separate segment in our results. As going through the results, and we sort of disclose broking, financing, ARC business, but we don't disclose Dhani, which is the main platform, the healthcare as a separate segment. Any reasons for that?
Yeah, going forward, it would be a separate segment. But as I said, currently, we cater to around 3,000, deliveries every day. One delivery is approximately around 1,400 rupees at a GMV level, and with discounting, it goes to like $1,000. So that's the sort of big picture.
Okay.
Mr. Lal, you have any more questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Craig Elliott from NWI Management. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on excellent results, and thank you for hosting this call, especially the pickup in the paid subscriptions quarter over quarter is excellent. I have a question. You mentioned a new initiative with the Dhani Health Shops to potentially pursue a franchise model. I'm just interested in a brief snapshot of how you see the pros and the cons of boosting growth and the health shop being a platform for your competitive advantage, which is the quick delivery, versus some of the additional challenges of managing franchisees, having different economics, and quality assurance type of considerations.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Basically, the way we think about these, franchisee model is essentially, we don't want to, run or own these shops. We want to be a platform business where, the franchises, if we have to open 5,000 shops, in every nook and corner of the country, we can't do it ourselves in a short period of time. So we need, small entrepreneurs who will get, very good margin, very good return on the investment that they do to get these shops up and running. In terms of, quality control, our franchisee model has a piece where we, go in and we do the specs and we, do the initial layouts and, the basic furniture work. So the shops have the same look and feel. We have a training program to train the pharmacist who is going to dispense medicines to customers, from the health shop. So we take care of these basic things, but, finally the, customer experience on the shops is, not that relevant because the customer, comes with a prescription, he needs the branded drugs. The branded drugs are given by the, pharmacist in the shop. So it becomes a sort of a simple process overall. And our interest is, even not to make money out of these health shops, but to, just get more and more customers, hooked on to, these shops, because eventually, these customers would start buying from Dhani app itself, because why would they want to come on the shop if they get the same price, they get the same medicines, delivered to their home. So it is, just to kind of like, popularize our brand that we are out there. They, get cheap medicines, the medicines that they want, the brand that they want. So it is basically to complement, the offering that we have through the app, essentially, and, to keep up with our promise of delivery of medicines within 1 hour. Because the other piece, if you see some of the competition that, caters to 30,000, 40,000, orders a day, who've been in business for years, 80% of their customers, are chronic patients. So they don't have a guy, who falls sick today who's ordering from these platforms, because, that person essentially wants the medicines immediately. He's not going to wait for 48 hours before, the medicines show up. So all the other guys, have only these chronic diabetes, cholesterol kind of patients who have to have, their monthly doses. We are trying to break away from that segment and provide that same experience to people who need, medicines immediately. And that is how I think we will be able to differentiate in the long term from the likes of Amazon, etc. Otherwise, they would just eat us up. We have no chance to compete with these guys other than, having, customized our own offerings, which actually become far superior to, to the offerings that they can do in India. And there are certain product categories where there are people or companies who have, who have become, leaders. Like, there's a very interesting company called FirstCry that, takes care of babies, diapers, medicines, basic clothing and all of that. So Amazon has lost very badly in that segment to FirstCry, just because FirstCry, has all these shops all over the place, and it's all private label. Their brand is very popular. The people can go take from there, and then they, just, order online on the app as well. So we are trying to, structure a business which has solid competitive advantage for the long term. In the short term, it is highly painful because it is a lot of heavy lifting. Two, it is costly. You burn a lot of money to put all of this in place. We hired like 7,000 people in last financial year, Dhani as a company, just to get to where we are. In the short term, these hiccups are there, but it is a path for long-term prosperity.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonathan Tatur from Claremont Group. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. Those are some very impressive daily active user numbers. Could you give us a bit more of a sense of what is happening to subscriber numbers and some of the trends in the quarter to date?
So the subscribers are, increasing quarter on quarter. So, we actually acquired almost, close to around 8-9 lakh, paid subscribers last quarter. But then, from the previous ones that we had, some have fallen off. That's why I said renewal rate on an average is kind of like 70 to 75%. So we are seeing, good traction in terms of the subscriber base, the new customers that we are acquiring, etc. So all of that is happening well. And I think the long term, or even in the medium term, how to, get this renewal rate even more and more is going to be depending on the product changes that we can make to enhance the customer experience. Because, the product, if you put it on paper, it's great, that you get interest-free money, 25,000 rupees, you are paying 500 rupees a month to the company. There cannot be a better product than this, on paper. But well, it has to work seamlessly for a customer. He should never get confused, or the card should always be working, physical card, digital card. He should have a great experience. So that's, I think, where we need improvement to make sure that, customers don't fall off. And that's something which we are, working on tirelessly, whatever we can do. Possibly we are addressing that both from a product perspective, from a technology perspective, from customer service, etc.
Understood. And you mentioned that renewal rate of 70 to 75% per month. I assume that includes quite a lot of fresh customers who have just come on. Now that you've sort of done a couple of months, you've been a couple of months in, what is your sense of the renewal rate for customers that have been around for a few months, right? So somebody who's been using Dhani for 3-4 months, does that renewal sort of rate increase dramatically, or what is the sort of order of magnitude of that?
So I'll tell you, the first month our, rate is, the drop-off rate is kind of like 70. The renewal rate is 70%. The second month, is around 75%, and then it really goes up. So people who've been, with us for 6 months, the transacting customers, there in the 6th month, the renewal rate is 95% because they are very conversant with the product. They understand the product, they understand, some glitches, whatever are there, and they know how to deal with it within the app. So, that's why I'm very confident that we would be able to solve, some of these customer, experiences for, the new customers who, probably don't want to renew because they, they are unable to understand the product or unable to use the product perfectly well. So the encouraging part is that people who do, they are like 95% plus in terms of renewals after 6 months. So if the ratios were other way around, I would be, quite unhappy. But the ratios are in this way, which is a very good trend.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And finally, two questions on the mix of subscribers, if I may. So if you can talk a little bit about the mix of subscribers between transaction finance and health. And I understand that some of the products are bundled, but as much as you can to sort of, talk about the split between those, and within health, where you're sort of.
Hello.
Mr. Jonathan Tatur. So seems like we lost the line for the current participant. We move to the next question from the line of Hitesh Dalal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me opportunity. I have one question that Indiabull Ventures, formerly it was having 2 subsidiary, One was Indiabulls Commercial Vehicle Finance and Asset Management Company. So what is the status of that? Any we plan for monetizing that?
No, these subsidiaries have not been part of Indiabulls Ventures. They are a part of Indiabulls Housing.
Okay. No problem. And we do have any plan to bundle the health, Dhani health service with any operator like Vodafone or Airtel for that?
We have some partnerships, going on with some of the players out there. We have a ongoing partnership with Snapdeal. We have something to do with Paytm as well. So yeah, these partnerships are a part of marketing strategy, and we keep making these partnerships that are mutually beneficial.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhruv Shah from Ambika FinCap. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi team. Thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations on the quarter-on-quarter growth in your paid subscribers. Samir, I have basically two questions. One, see, there has been a lot of consolidation in the e-pharmacy space. As you see, the Tata bought out 1mg and then Reliance also entering. So currently, I understand that you are increasing your stores so that there is some differentiation and one delivery. But how are you showcasing that to your customers? Because your cost of acquisition of each customer would be going up with all these new big guys coming in the space, right?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
So if you can just elaborate on what is your currently the new customers?
So, the cost of new customers last quarter, has been around 860 rupees per customer. So, this cost, keeps varying given, the success of different marketing initiatives that we take. But I agree with you. There's a lot of consolidation, and these people are doing business. But again, if you see, I don't know, we are trying to be little different from everybody else, and which is what I earlier spoke about with the Dhani Health shops. So PharmEasy and the other company merged. I think it was MedLife. And then, 1mg with, now Tata's, etc. They are just like e-commerce, platforms. I don't know what their plans are, but, they in years, their burn rate is 100 crores per month of PharmEasy, but they have not opened, any physical stores, for customers, though they have been extremely successful, and this is like they are the leaders in the segment currently. So we are not necessarily, just like a platform to cater to chronic patients. As I said, our goal is to cater to a person, having ailments other than, chronic ailments as well. And that's how we are trying to have a differentiated model with the, health shops, which in the short term is, of course, is quite cumbersome and very expensive. But in the long term, it has really solid legs to be able to have a differentiated offering than everyone else. Now, next few years, if we are able to do things that we envisage, and if we are successful, then we should be having like 5,000 of these health shops, which cater to every small neighborhood, the relevant neighborhood in the country. And if our reach is that massive, through our franchisee model and our own health shops, then, the number of customers we can acquire in a very, a low acquisition cost can be another differentiating point. See, today, everybody is competing for these customers only through, digital marketing, wherein if you have physical, shop, which the main agenda of our physical shop is to actually just complement the app offering. So the walk-in customers, they'll get to know about, shop now, pay later product. They will be given that, out of 100 people, 15 people would get converted. Those 15 people would come to us at zero cost. I'm just talking about, from one health shop on a single day. So there are these, kind of hidden benefits also of these physical health shops, which clearly are a differentiating point between us and the competition.
Samir, if I can elaborate, what's the cost of setting up one health shop?
So cost of setting up one health shop is, approximately, all in put together, depending on which location it is, 10 to 15 lakhs.
Okay. Okay. Samir, my next question is on your Dhani stocks. What are your plans there? Because we have seen, lately there's been a lot of traction in Dhani stocks, and I guess you have uploaded Dhani stocks now in your app as well. So what is your plan out there?
So there is no plan, it's a subscription-based, offering. You can, we don't charge any brokerage on anything. So, it's 500 rupees of, subscription fee on monthly basis. And we've also been working on, a margin trading product there, which would be first of its kind and no other broker has it, which should be launched over the next, month or so. So, our interest is to, just keep, having this offering for our customers who are also exposed to, the stock markets. So it's not like a major thrust area for us because, again, it's, it's a small market and highly competitive, but, with the traffic that we have, we expect, a few 100,000, subscriptions over the next, next year or so, just by default, without anything much, just by way of, the incoming traffic on our app.
Right. Just now, so I just have a small feedback that you guys are really doing some exciting work, and your app is also good. But unfortunately, if I ask people, they are not aware of the offerings you are offering to the customers. So, I guess somewhere our advertisement is not showing, or we need to do something on that part. Just a feedback. Thanks a lot.
Your feedback is, correct. Actually, we are trying to, balance out, some of the infrastructure rollout, some of the, things, that we are doing, which is taking up a lot of money. And as such, we, as I mentioned earlier, we've not, grown up with the view of losing money and then building a business. It's the first loss in, of Dhani in last 15 years, and it really upsets me. And we're trying to burn as little money as possible, and sooner or later people will get to know about our services. We'll definitely, take your feedback and try and do more marketing around our products. The other guys, the younger guys, who they have tons of money behind them, they don't really, really care. They can advertise, and they are, with a very fresh, different mindset, which I think is probably the mindset one should have to build, businesses of these consumer businesses, I guess.
Sure. Thanks a lot, and all the best, guys.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishabh Kothari from Vision Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So just to follow up, Samir, I would like to know what would be the timeline for winding up of the legacy personal loan segment. If you could share some insight on that.
So personal loans, were given out for, we used to do, 48-month loans, 60-month loans. We are way above the 50% threshold. So they should be completely wound down over the next, I would say 18 months or so, something like that. I mean, I'll have to check the data, but that would be my gut feel. So probably by FY, next financial year end, we should not have these legacy loans left. They like last quarter and this quarter, the reduction is like 100 billion, right? No, sorry, 10 billion.
Yeah, and coming to the asset quality, so we see that the asset quality of many of these loans is not that great. So I mean, would you like to comment on what would be the slippages that the company would face on this legacy loan book?
Yeah, Samir, I'll address that. Yeah, Rishabh, hi, Pinank here. So essentially, if you see, last quarter, our 90 plus, the NPA number was close to about 9.7%, and obviously that number was understated because of the Supreme Court ruling, etc. But the pro forma numbers which we announced was 9.7. That number is close to about 10.25% at the moment. As obviously as pointed out by you that we are winding down this legacy book, so there will be some bit of credit costs which will continue to get associated. But I think if you look at the full year performance, I think we've been able to curtail the credit cost at a reasonable number. And if you just refer to slide number 12 on our presentation, you will see that for all the loans which have completed their tenor, we have a 90 plus of little over 9%. So we are in that ballpark. Obviously, there will be some bit of pain which will continue to come through this book. But I think we've made aggressive provisionings and we'll continue to do so as we go along.
Sure. And if I could just follow up again on the ARC business. So it is clear that it's not an area of focus for the company. So when can we expect the book to be completely wound down, if at all?
So I think, within this financial year, mostly we should be out of ARC business. It's my expectation.
Okay. Thanks a lot for answering my question.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hari Aran from NWI Management.
Just a follow-up question on the regulatory framework. In places like China, we hear about how the regulators are going after finance and so on and so forth. So, how are you reading the regulatory environment? Because you're in both pharma and in finance, and both tend to be reasonably regulated industries. What kind of expectation do you have in terms of permissions you need or don't need, and potential future regulations coming your way? Thank you.
Yeah, so Hari, I'll answer this question in 2-3 different aspects. The first and foremost, is that regulators are very, very keen to promote digital businesses, and a proof of that is their policy framework which has allowed operability of even the wallets. So they are taking more and more steps so that the whole society moves to the digital world, because that just is more compliance for taxes and everything else. The second important point is that in India is the unique market in the world where payments have no meaning. You can't make iota of money on payments. Everywhere else, whether it is Europe or America or any other Africa, any other place, there is a small tail associated with payments, even in China. So that's that's how forward-looking India is. And then the third thing, why and these some of these companies got hauled up with their regulators is because they were competing with banks which basically were just like dinosaurs in their countries. They never had a HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, which are cutting edge top-notch banks, in terms of their own digital, plays for their existing customers. So, and, basically, as I understand, gave away, kept 1% of the loans on their balance sheet, gave away all these 99% loans to all the banks, who then, figured out that these loans aren't coming back. And then they were, sitting with the losses and walked away with all the origination fees and all of that. And then, it is now haunting them. So which is not the case in India. So India, banks, there is nobody who is like equivalent of Ant in India, and, banks are tied up behind that platform and allowing them to, use their balance sheet to further their own business interests, and all the crap comes and sits on the banks. That's not the case in India. So from a regulatory standpoint, given these factors are there, we expect more and more, friendly outcomes, which will only enhance, businesses, that are on the digital footprint. And, interoperability is a very big, step in that direction. So, the other fundamental point is, again, coming back to this, is that if banks are so efficient in India, and they cater to these, cream customers, then, companies like us have to cater to, the segment which banks don't wish to cater. And that is why we not, try to compete with the credit card customers. We have not tried to compete with, offerings that banks already have for their, customers, which is a sort of a quasi shop now, pay later, because they convert their credit card payments, credit card offerings into, interest-free loans. That's what all banks are doing, but they are only doing it for their own customers. They are not doing it for random, customers in the open market, and that's where we come in. So that's where, our place is, within that, within that world. We, that's our world, which is not the bank's world. So we've been conscious of, figuring out which areas to operate in, and if, there is heavy competition, like in healthcare, how do we differentiate ourselves to be able to provide a better service that, others can't do, just by virtue of having, physical shops with enablement of 1-hour delivery of medicines.
And just to add to that, Hari, Pinank here, if you see what RBI has done around the PPIs, essentially is also increased the limit from 1 lakh to 2 lakhs and allowing cash withdrawals, etc. So the way we interpret the regulator is watching this space is the fact that they want to promote digitization, as Samir mentioned earlier, and that really directionally is getting set with these kind of initiatives.
Sorry. Yeah, and hi, Hari, this is Nikhil here. There's a similar trend on the healthcare side as well. So if you look at the last year, the government allowed this interoperability of consultation. So earlier on, one doctor in one state could not consult for patients in another state, but that is something that the government allowed last year. And similarly, on the e-pharma side, what happened last year is that for the first few months, the government had actually put in all the e-pharmacy apps within the Arogya Setu app, which is a government app. So definitely the government is trying to promote the digitization of healthcare as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonathan Tatur from Clearmount Group. Please go ahead.
Thank you. 2 questions on the mix of subscribers, please. So, what is the mix of subscribers between the transaction finance and the health segment? And I understand that for some of your products they bundle the two, but as much as you could split that out. And in health, where are you sort of seeing more traction and more potential, on the doctor consultation side or on the medicine delivery and those health shops?
Yeah, so the first, answer is that, the overlap between our, customers is almost like 75 to 80% on health and finance subscriptions. And on the second point, can you remind me the second question, please?
Yeah, within the health segment, where you see
Yeah.
the bigger long-term potential, whether it's the doctor consultations or the medicine delivery.
So see again, Eddie, to answer that in affirmative, our goal is to be present in everything that is, not hospitalization. So, we currently, are delivering medicines to our, doctor consultations as well. So broadly, when I say 3,000, you can assume that 1,000 are, coming from, our doctor consultations, and 2,000 are, coming from, from direct pharmacy orders. So it's a third and 2/3.
Understood. That's very helpful. And then just finally, if we can touch on the cancellation policy a little bit. We've seen some user kind of comments online which talk about how it's quite difficult to cancel the subscription in the app, and you have to contact customer service, who then may take some time to resolve this. Can you talk a little bit about how you think about cancellations and kind of what kind of model you envision? Obviously, there's the sort of the Netflix model where in the app, you press one button and it's cancelled, and obviously some other businesses use a slightly different sort of way of policy or way of handling cancellations.
So yeah, we received this feedback and we addressed it right up front. So if you see the brand new user experience that we have highlighted in our presentation, then in the the main menu on the right hand side is profile. So if you press profile, you can go to your account, you can cancel your subscription right there with press of one button. And the second important point is that what we are doing is that we are encouraging people not to even give us mandates. Don't give us a 12-month mandate for a subscription. Come to us every month, pay your subscription and continue with your services. So that's the other change that we have made, because this was a feedback that I have given for 12 months. So I don't want to continue. And then sometimes people could not figure out, so we've taken these two very important steps, which allow customers, existing ones to, cancel their subscription in the profile section. And for the new ones to just keep paying us every month, without having to give us a mandate at all.
That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a final reminder to the participants. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Nihar Dave from AKD Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Samir. Congratulations on your strong customer addition. I just had a question with regards to the unique scheme which you all have launched of distributing the 25 lakh free COVID kits. So I would just like to understand if you could throw some light on what's been the progress on the same, and how is this campaign panning out, and the benefits, if any, that Dhani is accruing due to the same.
So that's that was targeted towards helping communities who don't have access to these medicines. It wasn't anything to promote any of the Dhani items. It was more from a different mindset.
So that was not used to add any customer additions or target some customers at all.
No, they are not our subscribers. So our subscriber numbers don't include even one customer from there.
All right. And second part of my question, Samir, is would you be able to give a guidance for the coming year on your customer addition?
See, what one thing I can easily say now, we have done 2-3 things, essentially. So initially, anyone could step into Dhani by a minimum KYC, and he could become a wallet customer. So we've stopped that because we don't want our app to get heavy with people who will just take some rewards, take some free period, and then walk out. So to be able to become a customer today, when I say customer, meaning, like a regular customer, you need to have a full KYC before we would, even let you open an account. So we want a full KYC, from the customer, because none of our products, on the finance side work if, the customer doesn't have a full KYC. We are not allowed to issue a card till the time we have a full KYC, and card is the central theme to Dhani. So that's one, fundamental change we have done. The second important thing is that now, with the new UX and everything, we are seeing almost 100,000 new customers, who come in, on Dhani. When customers, meaning users, they don't all end up becoming customers, but, out of that we see a good, healthy, 20-25%, conversion rate into becoming a full KYC and so on and so forth. So one thing easily, without doing any math, I can tell you that, next year, same time, our customers, even with, all these restrictions we have ourselves put, our customer base would be at least, more than 5 crore customers.
Oh, that's congratulations on that goal of yours. And lastly, if I can just put in one more question, what is the progress on your NASDAQ listing?
So we have, started the process. It's a very long drawn, process, as we understand. So we've, hired the bankers and lawyers. And Pinang, can you talk about that?
Yeah. So essentially, Nihar, we'd approved it in our board meeting. We've formally gone ahead and appointed bankers to start the activities. As I understand, this is more like an IPO in the US. So it is a time-consuming process. But I think we're making progress now that with our annual results out, we will be now, driving towards building out a project plan for delivering and looking at an opportune time for this kind of listing. So we've already have a formalized team in terms of professional bankers, lawyers, everyone who's advising us, and including our teams who are working on this.
Oh, fantastic. All the best for going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sushil, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Mr. Sushil, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with the question, please. As there is no reply from the current participant, a reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time.
I think we can wind it up. It's been 1 hour of Q&A.
Sir, we have Sushil back in the queue. Can I promote him?
Okay.
Mr. Sushil, please proceed. Yeah.
Good evening, Samir. So just wanted to check in how much time period do you expect your business to be at break-even level at PBT level?
Yeah, at EBITDA level, which is, the way we are, thinking about it, because we don't give out, any loans, and interest is, no longer remains as a main relevant factor. We expect, it to be in that zone, somewhere next financial year sometime.
So are you talking about at EBITDA level or PBT level?
EBITDA level.
EBITDA level. Okay. Okay. So next, yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to end the conference. Over to Mr. Samir Gailot for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you everyone for, for joining in and for your time. Just, as my, ending comments, I would just say that, this is a business, which we need to build out patiently. And, the patience we have learned, far better over the last few months, looking at the global leaders such as Klarna, etc. They, process 1.4 million customer transactions on daily basis, worth $50 billion. I think they raised around, day before yesterday, some $700 million at that value, and they still remain, in losses. So, we are trying to find the optimal balance and to grow our business and build it for the long term, which once the critical mass of customers happen, then every incremental customer just goes straight away to bottom line because the expenses don't rise. And as you see in our presentation, there's a $10 aspiration that we have to make out of every customer, and the population in India is very vast, and so these numbers can be staggering. We just hope that we can be successful in our pursuit. There are we are trying our level best. There are no guarantees, but I mean we'll do everything in our powers to make a big success out of this. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Investec Capital Services, that concludes this conference. We thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.